So the question of this one is probably Geordie.
Yeah.
How well
Wild card.
is Geordie going to go in this one? If you had to put it down to the athlete of the field, you would probably say him. If you're not talking about any event in particular, you're just talking about quality of athlete, you'd probably put him at number 1.
He's a world champ semi-finalist. So he did do a steeple, I don't know where they got their 8:53 from. He did that in Sweden in August, but at 28th down at Box Hill, 8:48.06 was his last steeple.
11 athletes in total. We head to the start line now. The men's 3000.
So you'd probably say if this is slow at all, if the pace isn't on from the start, you'd put Williams down for the win.
Yeah.
He'd be the fastest in the field. How would he go over the steeple? He'll have Stevens, Clark, and also Nipris to contend with, and also the Japanese.
Yeah, Kusu, straight to the lead. Second fastest seed time on these lists.
And as the Japanese do, they do like to lead from the front. They don't like slow races. They'll make sure it's fast. Just depends if anyone goes with him.
No one has.
So Stevens leading the rest of the bunch over, along with Williams, Nipris. Clark's there as well. So the pace now has lifted just a little bit. Looks like it may have been Clark who's gone to the front. His training partner Stevens just had a bit of a look over to see who it was.
That's the thing with these races, because there's points on the line. Like, unless they have to be fast. There's no point. It's going to be weird. I'm always saying there's no point going slow because you just don't get the points.
Yeah, if you're an athlete that's out there trying to qualify for the Olympic Games
via point system,
which you would say these athletes are.
Yeah, 8:22. I think we've only had 2 athletes do it in history.
So if they want to find themselves at the Olympic Games, they're going to have to get a wriggle on, because you don't want to let go of these opportunities to be able to achieve these points.
I correct myself, 3. We've had 3 athletes under the 8:22. Now, Geordie has been doing hurdle training under Marion O'Shaughnessy down in Melbourne, so he is prepared. But Yasunari Kusu, he is really going for it, and there's been a big move. They've split the field. I don't know what that little kick was for. Nipris is at the back of it. I can only tell because he's wearing all white. But to be honest,
might have to change the contrast on our screen to see if we can.
It's difficult.
Brighten this up a little bit.
So it's still. So it's Geordie in. It looks like Clark in second place there.
It's interesting when you've got an athlete like Kusu has gone 8:36.
Kusu will lead the best part of 20 metres.
Why wouldn't you go with him? But it is Clark who leads the Australian contingent with Williams, Nipris and Stevens being the next 4 on the track after the Japanese athlete.
Yeah, Kusu's opening up his season with this. He 3:41 last year, 14 flat, and his 8:36 was last year.
What was a lead chase group of 3 or 4 athletes.
So Japanese athlete looking.
That was his best, 8:36 in September last year, so.
Looking good at the moment.
Yeah.
The rest of the field will have to get a bit of a wriggle on if they want to try and push Kusu for the win.
The competition has just come to a close on a record-breaking night. One of the competitors, Tim Crosby.
So Clark's still doing the pace job in front of the rest of the field. They're all still there. Williams sitting in behind, happy to let Clark do the work. Nipris off his shoulder. Clark has a bit of a look behind just to see where the others are.
And if Kusu can hold on to this big lead, Clark, Nipper, and then Williams. I think I saw Ferguson just there in first place.
We've also lost Stevens off this field, so Stevens is gone.
I don't know if anyone had Kusu in their tips.
Probably not. Anyone who had Stevens is going to be in trouble as well.
But I am excited that Patrick Ferguson, sitting in 5th place at the moment in this field. I'll try and find Harry Sharp as well. Those two looking for 8:58.50. Kusu is absolutely on a tear in this steeplechase. There's Stevens. Yeah, just walking down the home straight. So he's taking a shoe off. I'm not sure what the situation is.
Doesn't look like he's walking too well either, so hopefully it's nothing too serious. He may have just copped a spike in the back of the leg, potentially. He's pulled the shoe off.
There it is. Nipperus, Clark, and Williams, then Ferguson.
Ben Buckingham, the World Championship representative, maybe just easing his way into this race. You've seen him tackle 5,000 metres in Melbourne a week ago. He'll be soon making his way up on the shoulder of Sharp. Tiggerson ahead of him. And it looks like we've lost Stevens from the track.
So Nipper is starting to make a little bit of a move here. You can see him go down the back straight in the white Sydney Uni singlet. He has his eyes on Kusu, the Japanese athlete.
Probably picked a spot where it's the hardest to see, so maybe he's like, you know, sneak away in the dark.
Into the home straight, into the light. And we'll have 2 left to go next time past the post.
So as they come into the straight, it's Kusu 1, followed by Nipperus, then Clark, then Williams. They're the first 4 on the track at the moment. But Nipperus is really making a strong move here.
Yeah, 2 laps to go. And he's going to have to make the run now if he wants to cover this gap.
Turnover has increased.
Clark, Williams.
And he's winding into this race. One that has really, he's called his own domestically. The best part of the last 6 or 7 years.
Ferguson now. Try and catch who that was passing him. And Toby O'Brien.
Taking the title on 5 occasions. He's opened up a gap on the
But Nipper is looking really good.
Continue to mark his rise in this event.
Plenty of support down the back straight, Nipper. And he's closed that gap. He's probably halved it. Maybe taken about 60% out of that gap. So they're going to come into the straight for the second last time in the final event here at the Canberra Track Classic, the men's 3000m steeplechase. And it's almost like Nipper's sprinting.
Yeah, well, the way he's moving, he's going to take this Japanese athlete. He's going to go straight past him. It'll be interesting to see if the Japanese athlete responds to this, but the pace that Nipperus has at the moment, he's eaten up this lead, and he's done it within about 400 metres. So will the Japanese athlete respond? Will Nipperus just go straight past?
Now will be Nipperus, will move up to his shoulder.
On the bell lap, he does. Straight past, and the Japanese athlete doesn't have anything to respond with at the moment. Clark's lagging a little bit behind as well, as is Williams. But Nipperus, strong move. The Japanese athlete tries to fight back, but the pace of Nipperus a bit too strong down the back straight, and that gap opens up ever so slightly as they move down with 200 metres to run. It is Nipperus, the Sydney University athlete. He's out there in the all whites. He comes down to the water jump for the last time in this men's 3000m steeple with a Japanese athlete trailing. He led from start to finish, but with 400 metres to go, Nipperus heads to the lead and he comes into the straight. He's got a gap over the rest of the field, which is quite significant. What he's done in the last 800 metres of this men's steeplechase has been quite impressive. He comes down, he sprints towards the finish line, and he'll take a good win here in this steeple. Time not so bad either, just a tick over. 8:40, 8:41.39 on the clock. The Japanese athlete Kusu will be second. Clark third across the line. So a few surprises in this steeple. And Williams will have to settle for 4th.
Kusu for second, back to Clark and Williams comprised the top 4.
So good running there by Niparis.
The Oceania champion complete the top 5.
Impressive last 800. Really put it to the rest of the field. Ate up the gap that the Japanese athlete had over the rest of them. And after that, there was no catching him.
No.
James Niparis, your winner. And with that, ladies and gentlemen,
Boys are cooked out there. Tough running, like Solomon said earlier. Quite humid.
Summer series of athletics. Take this opportunity to thank our competitors for their work out on the track tonight. Congratulations to those that have broken records. A couple of Olympic qualifiers in the mix. And indeed, some outstanding performances. To our officials, thank you for your support and continued work.
So it has been another
season. The event simply cannot run.
fantastic evening here